Today we find ourselves in a new era, where content creators and cosplayers have chosen to proudly serve as beacons for individuals who are like-minded. In this episode of SOA, we will discuss the foundations of the online and offline community and assess if things have progressed forward. Today, I'm joined with Simone and King as we assess if the congregation has changed or remained the same over time. The first question is about con decorum. Simone, do you think that there's a unified code of how people should act at conventions?
Absolutely, 100. Like, we're all grown, we're not young, let's have some sense here. Make sure you come to the con, hygiene on point. I don't care if you,
deodorant
I don't care,
on.
Deodorant on. Like, I don't care if at home you stinking and all this other shit. You're around other people. Don't be respectful of others. Like, no one wants to smell that at all. You have beef with someone, because you know how Twitter is. Like, you cool with them 1 minute, next minute y'all not cool no more.
Parasocial relationships.
Yeah, parasocial. Yeah, you think you're familiar with them, but you're really not, right? Like, don't be weird. Don't try to start no bullshit. Don't do none of that. Like, if you have an issue with a person, just let them go about their way. You go your way. That's it. Don't, depending on what a woman is wearing, like, it's for my men, right? Don't feel like you could be very familiar with a woman, like, because she's wearing, like, a Ludi type cosplay. Like, you're giving her a hug. Like, make sure you ask her that she's cool with all of that, right? Don't touch her inappropriately. Don't do things to make her feel uncomfortable.
Overstepping boundaries.
Yeah, don't overstep no boundaries. Like, make sure you have some sense. Just because, like, they're one way online don't mean that that's how they're going to be in person when they see you. Because, honestly, they don't know you. They just know who you are, who you portray yourself to be on Twitter. So, keep it cute. That's how it should be. And then also on top of that, do not go around doing like weird shit, like spitting in other people's mouths for $5 and all that other shit. Because like we're still in a pandemic. Like we're still in a pandemic, friends. Like COVID is still a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know you. Like I don't be swapping no spit. Like
off that, I feel like King got a good take on this.
Like, don't be doing that.
How do you feel about con decorum, bro?
Oh my God! Wait, Simone. On the count of three, two. I'm thinking of two words. You already said it, but we gotta say it at the same time. All right? 1, 2, 3. Wear deodorant.
Deodorant, please. And brush your teeth.
That's it. Yeah, that's another one. Facts.
Clean your
Brush
skin.
them teeth.
Moisturize your body. Please, like
lotion. Don't be ashy. Yes.
Don't
like,
be ashy.
It's so overplayed, but it's the fact we have to say it over and over again. It's like
which is annoying.
It's like it doesn't matter the environment either. It'll be in a cold winter month in a northern state or a hot summer month in a southern state. Like, please be tidy, please be clean. Don't spit on people. Don't do anything without consent.
What about stepping on people?
Consent. Listen.
Yeah,
consent.
Consent. You can step on someone. You can lift someone up. If you said okay and they said okay, I say it's all fine. Everyone consenting. But anything else, there's no signs or anything. There's no like secret messages that if I got this tattoo, that means you can just go ahead and just slide in from behind. No, words.
And you have
consent.
to be careful because some cons, like, kids are there, so like you can't be doing no extra like Ludi shit to get like $5 and all the other stuff. Like, get your money, sis. Yes, but like there's a time and a place.
But also on top of that, I just don't even know how I would personally respond if someone straight up was be like, "Hey, I just met you, but like, can you step on me?" Like, what? I don't know how I would respond.
Exactly.
But it makes sense because at a certain point, people who come to these spaces are coming to play. You come to look your best. You come to dress your best. People get your haircuts right. People are paying hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to come to these events. When it comes to this con experience, how do things truly move forward when it comes to our expectations? And how do you truly optimize this con experience when we only have so many hours, so many days to enjoy this time?
I would say it like this, and I would say it flat. Not every single convention, every single con is the same. They're not cookie cutter anymore like they were back in the day or before where it was all small niche thing. Everything is different. Some are very big, some are very small. Some are about what's coming up in the community. Some are just about hanging with the community. Knowing what you're getting into is definitely like a first step. Like, if it's in your city, and you know it's like in a hotel and it's small, the ticket price was cheap, it's probably going to be more intimate of a situation. So I find that more of a situation where you can genuinely have a conversation about someone, just about anything random, what they're wearing, what their favorite show is, what they're getting, but understanding like it's a community. No one is necessarily out there to get you, you know. I mean, no one's really out there to get you.
I say con meetups are like the way to go, honestly.
There
It really is.
There it is. Thank you.
My favorite part about going to cons, I know a lot of people. So I'm a baby when it comes to like going to conventions. My first convention was in 2021 at Anime NYC, and from 2021 till now, it has changed so much that I'm just like, it's crazy. Like people, you know, talk more about like the parties and all these other things, and I know it is like a social gathering. All that stuff matters.
Shout out
like,
LAN party.
Yeah.
Shout out LAN party.
Shout out Celebrate.
Party.
Shout out Eating Con.
Shout out Eating Con. Yes.
But at the end of the day, like we're still going to like the con. I feel like now people just like care more about like what's the party, what we doing, like this and third. That they forgot that you have to experience the con as well. And if you're going by yourself, or even if you're with a small group of people, if you want to meet more people, I feel like a cosplay meetup is where it's at. Like what I enjoy most about going to cons, other than spending my money in RS Alley and going to some of the panels, is I like to dress up in cosplay, as you can see.
Right.
And cosplay meetup is a great way to meet like a lot of people who love the same shows as you, or like they love the same character and all that stuff. And you could like connect and form like friendships, or at least like exchange social medias and all this other stuff, and start, you know, that relationship from there.
That's really interesting, because I feel like a lot of individuals come to these conventions with the expectations of meeting people, or just genuinely sharing their love for the series that other people might also connect with. But the main thing about is the where and how, when you have these giant spaces, a ton of bells and whistles, people screaming, foam pits here, wrestling pit here, people performing over there, shout out if the shoe fits, and like, you know, you have all these different things going on. And I feel like you pinpointed a perfect place where when you want to meet people who enjoy a specific thing that you like, the con meetups of a specific type of series, is that what you're alluding to, might be the best way to connect to people?
Yes.
Shout out One Piece cosplays, shout out One Piece cosplay meetups, yep.
Last
One
year,
Piece cosplayers. Yeah, those are.
please.
I always see a Frankie cosplayer somewhere doing this shit. So facts.
Yes, One Piece, they be having most of the meetups. But last year, I did my first meetup at AWA for Bleach, and I don't know how it came. I don't know how it came about, but like people were talking about like, oh, we should do Bleach because, you know, Bleach was coming back and all this other stuff, and AW's in October.
Right up
so
the power
we
of Twitter.
did it, and there was the power of Twitter, and there was so many people. Like I was like about to send a thug tier. I was like, oh my god, like niggas really fuck with Bleach, because, you know, niggas be talking shit about Bleach. But it was like so good to see, and then to meet so many people who love the same show as I do. So really maximizing your time at a convention outside of all the other stuff, if you want to do like social stuff, even if you're not like a big on parties, because there's people who aren't big on parties. Like I feel like cosplay meetup is also really good for that.
Parties
so
are still a
thing.
They're still a thing in my opinion. They're still an option.
Yeah?
Parties are still an option in my opinion. Like some people are more.
Some people are not big on parties though.
Right. So
I would
say we talked genuinely about this idea of this cookie cutter way about how cons have the artist alley, panels, performances. So, you know, me personally, I was lucky enough, shout out if the shoe fits, I'm gonna say it multiple times, we were able to perform at the inaugural year of Brooklyn Comic-Con. And seeing how Brooklyn Comic-Con has progressed over time is very interesting, given that I've seen people that I know go to panels and they have a whole wrestling pit. So they have special amenities that people look forward to, but also they have the day-to-day experiences, the blase blah, the monotonous things that you could expect at every con. So my final sub-question for this question is, do you guys have any ideas of different things or amenities? And feel free to drop it in the comments as well, that you would like to see at conventions that are outside of the realm of the monotonous?
Like, yeah, we're always seeing con meetups. We're always seeing like.
Okay. A mixer. I think a mixer would be perfect.
Mixers.
So we talked about this. I've talked about this on Twitter, because with DreamCon kind of coming up and stuff like that, like everyone don't have their full government, like their name or anything like that on Twitter. So we only know them by their @ name. So yes, it's kind of like crazy when people come up to me and be like, hey, Simone. And I'm like, hey. And I'm like, I don't know your name. I don't know your name. Like,
I have a more of mine where it takes 3 times for me to meet someone in person
Yes.
to officially know them. That's like my social more.
I need to shake your hand 3 times formally before I can dap you up. You know what I mean?
And then some people have like their profile photos as like a character. So I definitely am not gonna know who you are because I can't put like a face to the name. So I feel like a mixer would be nice. Right. So like I know like a lot of these cons start in the afternoon. So like maybe a morning, like a breakfast mixer.
Ooh,
you know, if
brunch.
you don't want to do nothing.
I would love a brunch.
Yeah.
You know,
and
niggas
everybody has
love
like
brunch.
little a nigga love a brunch, okay? Bottles, mimosas, you know, momos, all that stuff. You know, like you just have like your at name and like on like a little name tag and all that shit.
Right.
Like, that would be perfect. It will like cut down less on like the awkwardness when like someone walks up to you and be like, hey, and I'll be like, hey.
But King, before we get too far off from the question, what's your idea for another optimization? Another amenity for cons?
I would say a little meetup for all the con crunchers that have severe procrastination. Not to call anyone out, but you know,
Call me out.
I'm calling myself out. What do you mean? Like,
right.
Like,
drag me.
That's a brilliant idea.
It's just like you see some people with some big cosplays, but it's just like they take boxes, they ship them, they drive just to make it there, and then the night before you just see them cutting up poster boards, showing. Just like, it would be cool if some of these events were just like, we could get together in this center nearby and work on cosplays, improve on it, have extra materials to like add some
like a
flair.
co-working space.
A working space, yeah, because there are like a few things if you're connected like on Twitter where we have these types of mixers where we meet each other, but it's still like I'm meeting some people for the first time. But it's different when like I'm cosplaying and I bring like a massive prop, and then literally a quick story. Anime NYC last year, I was Katakuri. I had made my spear. I got it all the way to New York from DC. And as I'm getting like in the taxi, I drop it on the ground and it breaks. And I'm just like, yo. But then like going into the con and having a con repair spit and then standing there for 30 minutes and talking to someone about like the whole process. It's like, that's a whole other connection that people have that's so big. Like, it's not really it's super rare to have. So
big shout out to
space.
Cosplay Central. Cosplay Central is actually an organization that goes around the country from convention to convention and actually does specifically that, where they table up usually in Artist Alley, and people can come to them with different con issues, and they'll help with different tools that they have on hand to give repairs. So I feel like an amplification of doing them, or maybe if they sponsored an event before conventions, that would be amazing.
Shout out the con repair men and women. Shout them
out. Both of your ideas really speak towards the real desire for people to connect more. People want more ways to communicate, want more ways to have friends, want more ways to build relationships and build their brand online and in person. Simone, how do you feel about the convention experience versus the online experience?
So, I mean, I couldn't go by my experience. I feel like my convention experience is way easier now, because even like in the beginning, when I did start going to cons, because I've created like friendships with people online. So that has helped me tremendously with my con experience. I feel like it's easier to, I guess, make friends, I should say, or like connect to people online, because you're just behind a screen, you know what I'm saying? So like, you don't really have to deal with any like the awkwardness of meeting someone in person or anything like that, you know? Like,
no
you
physical
keep the
cues.
conversation, there's no, right. You keep the conversation kind of flowing, and you kind of like get out of it when you want to on Twitter, compared to like going to a convention. And plus I know for some people, they have social anxiety, like being in a place with a lot of people, that might like stress them out, but they feel more comfortable talking to people online, you know? So I think it's easier to build that online than it is with a convention. And these conventions keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and more and more people are going.
I actually read a stat that by 2030, there's an estimated, and don't quote me on this too hard, there's going to be an estimated $55 billion in the anime industry. $55 billion physical and online. Yeah, by 2030. So when we put those numbers to people, that's an insane amount of investment that brands now are putting into the community as well. So yeah, absolutely.
My wallet. No.
Right. My wallet. Right. I mean, manga sales is going up.
Yeah, manga sales is
prices.
going up.
Like, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Why is it 12? Wait, let's get back to the point. Wait, hold up. Let's get back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like connecting with people when it gets like so large, it's like online is the easiest way, because now I'm thinking there are so many other people that are in this community, and there's me. I feel like I'm brand new in this community, and next thing you know, over in the span of a year, I got 100+ connections, and all these people I still remember over the internet. Like, thank you for the memory. Shout out Tony.
Oh my God.
Yeah, shout out Toby for
Shout out Tony.
Online is so much easier because there's not this barrier of like awkward conversations. Like I'm an intimidating person to be, like 6'8", deep voice. I'm walking over here and I'm just like, hey yo, how's it doing? It's like, what is this? Tall, Attack on Colossal Titan walking over to me, talking to me about. I'm like, listen, I just like your work online. I think you're funny. We cool. It's just like when you have that thing over the internet to kind of break the ice, and then you finally meet this person. It's not just like nice to finally put a name to the face. It's like, this is the same person that's cracking all these jokes online with me all the time. Got me with the retweet, got me with the like, the share, the ideas. Like,
it's almost like it's an affirmation that the relationship is real, that the relationship is authentic.
It's a solid relationship. Exactly. So like whenever I meet people, I'm like, especially if I talk to them a lot through Twitter, I'm like, wow, like it doesn't feel any different to me. It's like, damn, like we've been friends for that long. Like in my brain, I'm like, and now we finally meet because we talk consistently on Twitter. And then like with Twitter, there's now like Discords and all this other stuff. And you know, I'm in like a lot of people the same Discords, and we all be chatting it up and stuff like that. And I haven't met any of these people still.
Shout out to our parents that said don't talk to strangers over the internet. Shout out to the parents that said don't talk to strangers.
Listen, I'm a person that, me personally, I've gone to weddings of people that I met on video games when I was 13 years old. And, you know, I've been a part of crafting like communities online since I was a child. So I can definitely attest to the power of meeting people online and then meeting in person. But let's dig a little bit deeper. What about the converse? When an individual has no online persona and potentially they don't have friends that they're going to this con with, they don't have any quote-unquote anime friends, how does one then start the process of building an online community?
I mean, you would have to like go to the conventions if it's hard for you to kind of do it on Twitter. I still think like doing it online is still the best way. Because of all the things that we have
mentioned meet them in
before.
person, you're saying?
Yeah,
right?
like do it online and then meet them in person, because it can get awkward in all the stuff that we had just previously said. But I just feel like being genuine and being intentional with the way you're trying to cultivate online or with people in general, I think that's what matters the most. Obviously having a love for the medium, and it's like a genuine love. You're not just doing it for clout, and you're not just doing it because that's the hot thing right now. That's what everyone's, you know, going into content creation for and all the other stuff. Like, you're really just doing it because you love
Look at us creating content.
Either cosplay
or you love to create content. You love to create content, yes, or you just love anime. Like,
I love doing
that's
this.
just all, like, that's how I started out on any Twitter, honestly, was that I didn't have a lot of friends to talk to about anime, but except for my best friend, but like she doesn't watch as much anime as I used to. So like I became more intentional with like curating my timeline, making sure that I'm seeing people and putting myself in these conversations. And then at that time, Clubhouse was still a thing, so I would like go into like these little rooms. I may not speak, but like I will, you know, make my presence be known and all this other stuff. And you know, this is how I came to be. But like, I'm always very like genuine, and I don't ever want no one to ever tell me that like they're not, when they meet me in person, that I'm not who I am online. So I just think being genuine and making sure you're being intentional, it will always be the key. But if it's hard for you to do that on Twitter, I mean, you could also still do those things in person at a con by going to meetups and, you know, going to the parties and like the little bit of like the little social events, the little meetups and all this other stuff.
Right.
Connect on the small things.
Yeah, you can connect on the small things. Exactly.
I feel like a real interesting thing that you spoke about, the process of being authentic and being intentional about our interactions, and how certain people's intentions for being a part of a community or coming together with the larger congregation might not be always connected. Some people might want clout, where some people might want friendship. Some people might want physical intimacy, or some people might just want like a family, you know, to build some sort of connective system to support people. But in a lot of ways, I personally came into this space as a musician, to find other people who also liked music that was connected to a specific thing or who liked making music in the specific field. But one thing that I quickly realized is that it's impossible to do one without the other, where I started getting into content and community quickly followed. Shout out to Anime Anonymous, where Clubhouse was, a thing where we got on the space because we wanted to find more people to promote our music to, and quickly built a community that grew larger than what we were. So what I will say is, what do you think is the main advice you can give to someone who desires to have both the physical and the online community? And how can someone build guardrails, like we were talking about in the first question, to make sure that boundaries aren't transgressed for anyone or themselves?
I think it's definitely expressing your intentions, expressing equal intentions both online and in person. If you can say online that, hey, I'm not that much of a social person, I'm really cool if you come up and like talk to me about any anime because I watch this sort of genres, and keeping those same energies and same like requests in person is a way to just make sure, like, no matter if I'm online or in person, I'm presented the same way and people come at me the same way. If I'm a cosplayer and on my page, whether it's lewd or it's like super massive builds, it's always like, hey, you come up to me and talk to me, or you can, see me from afar. I'm not that, I'm a communicative person, versus like, hey, I'm kind of shy, so approach people with caution. Like, making sure those energies match both your online identity and your in-person identity is important for this. Or otherwise, I'm gonna walk up on someone that makes a lot of jokes online, and then I'm gonna like, come up from behind and say, hey, look at this fellow, and he's just like, oh,
right.
Yeah, I think being like I said before, authentic is really key, and being like genuine and being like transparent, because there's so many people who have said, I even said it, like when I first went to DreamCon last year, I was like, please, like, if I don't really know you and I'm not familiar with you, please don't hug me because I don't know you. I am a hugger, but that's what people I'm comfortable with, right? So like, King, I've met you before, so like if I, even if I did like meet you, if I was to like, because we talk like offline and all this other stuff, like I would hug you when if we were to first meet each other, right? Like I would have no problem with that. But like people who I don't really know or anything like that, you are. People who I don't really know like that, like I don't want that. And I've seen people like when it gets closer to these big conventions that a lot of people are going to, they say that like, hey, like I have social anxiety, like please be careful when you come meet me and all this other stuff. Like if I come off a certain type of way, please don't take it as anything personal or anything like that, because I am just probably really anxious in that moment. So being transparent, being genuine and authentic, because what you see with me is what you're gonna get. I don't have to put on no persona or anything like that. Like you see me sipping on a TL, I sip in real life, you know what I'm saying? So like on the 2D, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like there's gonna be no difference. I'm gonna be
that's an important addendum on 2D men. Gray haired 2D men as well. I know that's also an addendum. Gray haired 2D men. The stocks has been up on that. Black haired 2D men is my shit. Yes. So like
2D men. It's just 2D men. That's
I thought it was gray hair.
2D,
okay,
2D
let me back up. Let me back
general.
up. I'm in women's business right now. Let me back up.
I'm loving over on Toji on Twitter. Sure enough, whenever I see a print of Toji, or even if I see a cosplayer, I'm loving on that. Like, you're gonna get it with me no matter what. Like, I'm not gonna freak the funk and be like, oh, Toji niggas, like, no, I'm a sip through and through.
That's real.
That's real. You're gonna get that for me. Like,
that's so important for us to be able to like enjoy this, because we really used to covet all of these things. It used to be something that was so closeted, that was so secured and hidden. You couldn't do it in public. And now we live in a space where you could be passionate and buy models of naked men if you want to. You could wear fursuits if you want to. You could wear lewd cosplays if you want to. So it's really a beautiful place that we've transgressed to. And one thing I'd say, just to go back to Clubhouse one more time, is honestly the most important thing that really stuck with me is how often people will come into spaces and say, man, I have never been able to experience talking about the things that I love with people like this.
God,
and stuff like that is really why I continuously get back into the game, because honestly, that's the love that we're all chasing. The ability to connect our inner childs to friends that we didn't have when we were children. And
Yeah.
it really
I love my
all started
community.
when we were kids.
I love my
Children who grew up on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Toonami late night entertainment, Saturday morning cartoons,
Or kids.
now growing up, becoming older. Used to be coveted, secure things, didn't even have a definition. And as the definition came, stigmatization followed, which caused the hidden nature. But as things publicly progress, our passion is shown easily, but there is a lack of boundaries that help to make sure that people stay secure and safe. So in the comments today, we would love to see if you think if the current situation of the community has changed versus the old situation of the community. If people feel more secure, if there's more opportunities to be yourself, drop it in the comments, drop your takes. We would love to see them. Thank you again for another great episode of Slice of Anime. Go ahead and like this episode, subscribe to the page, follow for more, and follow every single one of Slice of Anime's platforms. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Stay slicey.
Bye.